defense he's struggled with in the past. He's 1-5 against Buffalo in his career, with the same number of touchdown passes and interceptions. That includes a 48-20 loss against the Bills in Week 4 earlier this season. Look, Alex, it's not really to take something away from Tua. He's been great this year. We know what he's capable of. But this Bills team in the recent past seems to have a blueprint for this guy. What is it, and why does it work so well against him?
They have played well against him, and it started in Week 4 when they played earlier this season. And really kind of had a dominating performance against Tua. It was the only game this season when he didn't have a completion 20 yards downfield. And here I'm going to take you back to the Week 4. Again, it's 2nd and 1. This is normal down and distance, middle of the field. Look at the roof line of this defense. Look how deep they are. Again, Tua looking to Tyreek. He wants to get it to his playmakers. Look at the depth of the safety. Again, all in an attempt to do this. Get him to move his feet, take the extra hit. This is extra hitch. This is not what he wants to do, move off platform. Again, fast forward to last week against the Ravens, 2nd and 4. Look at the depth.
You can't give him Tyreek deep, Alex.
Look at this. Yeah. They are not going to let Tyreek behind them. Again, Tua looking to Tyreek, wants to get it to his playmaker. We still have a 10-yard cushion on him here. Again, why? To get Tua, take the extra hitch, move, find the check down. Here, it ends up in a sack by Madubuike, right? Like, this is what they want him to do. He's so good at throwing when number 1's open. Again, this is only a couple plays later. 1st and 10. Weird. I mean, the whole game's like this, Teddy, right? Look at the depth of these safeties. Again, Tua, right? He wants so bad. Like, I got to get it to my guy, the playmaker. He is our team. Here, finally frustrates Tua. Check this out from his point of view, right? Finally forces it, says, screw it, I got to get it to Tyreek. I mean, he throws it into the Ravens team meeting back here. I mean, look at this. It's ridiculous. Really, really frustrating him. Huge play in this game. And big question for Mike McDaniel and Tua, like, can you adjust?
Yeah.
This is a trend that we've seen since that Week 4 game. Every defense not going to give up the big play, not let Tyreek behind him. Again, can you throw the ball underneath in rhythm? Can you run the ball? You got to get him out of this. Yeah. And again, today, I promise you, the Bills are going to be in that the majority of the day. They're not going to let Tyreek behind them. Deep, high safeties, look for it. Can the Dolphins adjust?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to stick with what works. We see today if Tua and the Dolphins can adjust on offense. Part of the blueprint always for dealing with a good quarterback is a great pass rush, and we have that today in the Cowboys-Commanders game. A guy by the name of Micah Parsons. It feels like a silly question saying this, but why is this guy so good?
Yeah, the impact, of course, getting to the quarterback, Sam, and sacking the quarterback is one, but there's so much non-statistical things that you can look at in terms of Micah Parsons right here against the Dolphins. Nice quick move, rip underneath, gets a pressure on Tua, spins him around, and you'll see the hustle by Micah. He's constantly going, forcing Tua right here in an incomplete pass, throwing to the mascot over here on the sideline, Tedy the Dolphin. 40 incompletions created, Micah Parsons. That's an incredible number in terms of a non-statistical way that a great pass rusher affects the game. So let's go about pass rush win rate. This is ESPN analytics here in terms of right there. Nice play on that. Less than 2.5 seconds, getting to the quarterback. 104 pass rush wins, 20 more than the next guy. Here against Jared Goff, forcing a tough throw there. But today, versus the Commanders, what it has to be is what it was, okay? Speed to power on the tackle. The offensive double team is too late to get there. He doesn't get there yet, but bam, the hustle, he gets there. 13 sacks on the year, but it's going to take 1, 2, 3. You want a T-shirt? You want that T-shirt that says you're a division championship in that belly? You're going to have to get to the quarterback today. Micah Parsons has got to finish. I don't want incompletions. Nope. I don't want pass rush wins.
All right.
Get to the quarterback, Micah.
I thought you were about to do a little belly dance for us there. Got excited to see what that was going to be. You mentioned the 13 sacks. Micah Parsons and Reggie White are the only two players in NFL history to have 13 sacks in each of their first 3 seasons.
Good company.
Oh, what
Good company.
Here he's coming. Look out. Let's head on out to Charlotte. My Lord, what are we? Rex, break this down for us. Rex, what are we seeing here? Why? Can someone explain this? Do you dare?
I have no idea what they're doing in there.
It didn't work last week.
But you don't hate it.
Man, they in my hometown. It's beautiful there. It's beautiful. You asked the wrong guy, man.
The cheerleaders, maybe.
No, I asked the right guy, Randy. I asked the right guy.
Oh, it's a baby.
Can we name that QB? All right, we got like a toddler.
Give it to Shefty.
Oh, yeah, Adam Schefter thinks he knows. We're not going to have him guess now because I guarantee he's going to be wrong,
He'll
and
be
we need
wrong.
to get that on camera
Wait.
when we come back.
I'm going to guess Carson Wentz. I'm guessing Carson Wentz. We'll see what we...
And the biggest favorite of the day is the Dallas Cowboys by 13 points on the road against the Commanders. Dallas taking that NFC East title and the number 2 seed with a win. Of course, none of that matters if they continue their postseason disappointment. But in this final weekend of the regular season, Dak Prescott looks to punctuate a year in which he dispelled an off-season narrative. Here's Ed Werder.
There's so much at stake for Dak Prescott in this final game of the regular season. So much to be won or lost by the Cowboys quarterback. He's keeping it simple, saying you just have to go out there and play the game that we know we can play. Prescott has a league-high 32 touchdown passes and is positioned to become the first quarterback in franchise history to lead the NFL in scoring passes. Hall of Famer Roger Staubach tied Roman Gabriel in 1973 with 23 touchdown passes. None of this was necessarily expected in Mike McCarthy's first season calling the plays. In fact, at this time last year, Prescott was defending himself against critics because he led the NFL in interceptions. He remains unfazed, explaining, "It's just about staying true to myself, keep working, not allowing other people's opinions, critics to really affect my game and the way I approach it." That's how Prescott put it today.
The play for today, Chris Godwin, a little less than 30 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. Should get that today. If the Bucs can get things going, they can clinch the division, and the NFC South on the line for the Bucs today in Charlotte. Time now to get to Adam Schefter for your top stories this morning. Hi, Adam.
Good morning, Sam. So much on the line for so many teams today, including the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have their quarterback Trevor Lawrence listed as questionable, but he was able to go through practice in a limited fashion this week, 1 week after missing his very first game due to injury. It's trending towards him playing. The team wants to see how he feels in pregame warmups today, but it's hard to imagine that Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be out there when so much is on the line later today in a game at Tennessee against the Titans. And it's a similar story with the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. He's been battling a rib injury, didn't practice at all on Wednesday, but he's going to be out there. And keep in mind, he's got incentives in his contract. He's got first place on the line. He wants to be there for his team, and he will start today against the Carolina Panthers. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins nursing a whole slew of injuries today. They are unlikely to have both Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle tonight. We know Tyreek Hill will play tonight despite the fact that he was in a walking boot this past week. Xavier Howard already ruled out. And we know that they're without Bradley Chubb and, of course, Jalen Phillips, who they lost earlier to season-ending injuries. With that, we bring in our research producer, Evan Kaplan, to tell us what's at stake today. Evan.
All right, Adam. Well, it's all on the line, as Teddy mentioned earlier, in the AFC East. The winner tonight clinches the division title between the Bills and Dolphins, and they also clinch the 2 seed, so they'd be guaranteed 2 home playoff games in the AFC playoffs. If the Dolphins lose, they're the 6th seed in the AFC. They've already clinched a playoff berth. But look at this Bills scenario. If the Bills lose tonight, they would need a Jaguars loss earlier in the day to get into the playoffs. So if the Jaguars win, the Bills are either playing for the 2 seed in the AFC East title or they're out.
And it's just an example of how much is on the line today for teams, for players, and for coaches. If the Bills don't make the playoffs, there are people around the league who believe that there'll be questions about Sean McDermott, but he could win the division.
Right.
So those questions would then go away. A lot at stake there.
It's fascinating. So we go from the AFC East over to the NFC East and the 2 seed in the NFC. If the Cowboys win at the Commanders as a 13-point favorite, they are the NFC East champs. They will be the 2 seed and have those 2 home playoff games. If the Cowboys slip up, Eagles win the division with a win at the Giants and that Cowboys loss. And Adam, if the Cowboys win the division, that would be 19 consecutive seasons in the NFC East without a repeat champion.
And the Eagles will be paying close attention to what Dallas does today. And you'll see if they decide to rest some veterans later in the game. If the Cowboys are up front, they're not thinking like that. They're going in to attack the game. We also have the DeAndre Swift question listed as questionable. We'll see whether he's able to go, a real concern there.
Interesting. All right, so we talked about the Bills. We talked about the NFC East scenario. Here are the other teams that are in with a win. The Jaguars clinch the AFC South with a win. The Bucs clinch the NFC South with a win. Packers are in as a wild card with a win. These 5 teams are still in contention, but they need some help. Adam, you see, there are 9 teams on this list, 4 in with a win, 5 over here. 3 of the 9 are in the same division in the NFC South. Bucks, Saints, and Falcons all still with a chance.
Well, and here's what's so incredible about today and how it all converges together with so much on the line. Tampa, New Orleans, Atlanta. I feel like Steve Kornacki here. Any one of them could win the division. And the teams that don't will then face scrutiny about the future of their head coaches. So that's what's on the line. Win the division, or your coach will be questioned.
What makes Week 18 on Sunday so great?
Yes, and what makes Adam come back later in the show to tell us about all